Morning children, welcome back. We were learning lesson number 9 in SST and this is your second video. Lesson number 9, our economic system. Let's continue from our page number 73. Now we have studied the different economic sectors, public sector, the primary sector, service sector and secondary sector. Let's continue. The economic activities are also classified on the basis of ownership, government ownership, private ownership and joint sector. Now what is government ownership? The industries which are owned by the government and are run under the policies of the government are the public sector industries. For example, Bhilai Steel Plant, Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited, Oil and Natural Gas Corporation. All these are the industries which are owned by the government, that means which are run by the government. Also in Gandhidham, we have got our Kandla Port Trust, which is now called Deen Dayal Port Trust. It is also owned by government organization. Next is private ownership. The industries which are owned and run by private owners are termed as private sector units. That means any industrialist, for example, maybe it is Tata, Reliance, etc. These are the industries which are run by private owners. For example, Tata Iron Steel Company, Reliance, Torrent, Cadila, etc. Next is joint sector. There are certain limitations to public sector units. Generally, we find less dedication and commitment towards work in public sector units. To control this and to generate sufficient amount of required capital, the private sector units are asked to join the public sector units. This is known as the joint sector. In this, the government enjoys a greater control. So, most of that part of the organization or the industry is run by the private sector. But because to make it convenient for the people, available for the people, the government intervenes and that private sector is asked to join with the government body, and that's why it becomes a joint sector. In such sectors, government enjoys a greater control. Next is cooperative sector. There are many people in the country who are not economically very sound. They are not in the condition to start their own small or cottage industry. Such people make a cooperative society or a group where they undertake the manufacturing and selling process. So such people who want to do business but do not have that much capital, amount money is required for any industry to start. But people with low income or less capital to start any industry, such people they join together and they start a cooperative sector where they undertake the manufacturing and the selling process. The units that are started with cooperation of a group of people are known as cooperative sector units. For example, dairy, sugar mills, etc. Dairy, most of the dairies, they are all cooperative sectors, whether it is Amul or whether it is, Govardhan. There are several such sectors where we see the dairy industry is there. They are all mostly cooperative sectors. Classification of economic activities into organized and unorganized sector. See, here two examples are given. Kanta works in an office from 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. She gets the salary at the end of every month regularly. Apart from salary, she is eligible for the benefit of pension and PPF. Then she also receives medical allowance and other allowances too. Kanta gets the salary for Sunday too, which is a holiday for her. She has been given the appointment letter which states the rules and regulations for the job. Thus, Kanta works in an organized sector. Here we see in the other side, Kamal is the neighbor of Kanta. He works on a daily wages in a grocery store. He goes to the shop in the morning at 8 and works till 9 in the evening. We can say the difference of working hours. And you will come to know what is the difference between daily wages and a salaried person and a person who earns daily wages. Now this man, Kamal, he does not get any allowance apart from the daily wages. He is not paid for the day he does not go to work. He does not get any paid holiday. He has also not received any appointment letter. So you understand? all the days which he worked from morning 8 till evening 9, that is almost 11 hours. And whatever days he does not go to work, he will not be getting any salary for those days. Even apart from that, if there is any holiday, government holiday or whatever, for that holiday also he will not get any salary, any wages. He has also not received any appointment letter. His boss can tell him to leave the job at any point of time. Thus, Kamal works in an unorganized sector. You understood the difference of organized and unorganized sector? In organized sector, you get appointment letter, you get different allowances, PPF, pension, etc. are being, and in the unorganized sector, as you can see in the other part where Kamal works on a daily wages, he does not get extra perks or any extra allowances, even does not get any money or in the form of salary or wages on the days of holiday or even when he is sick. So you have to write, difference between organized sector and unorganized sector, at least four points, and you can take points from these both sides. Understood? That has to be written in your fair book. The government has made certain rules for the unorganized sector units, but the owners in the unorganized sector do not implement them in reality. So the rules and regulations are being already, made by the government, but the in the unorganized sector, the people do not implement them in reality. So ultimately, the daily wage earner has to suffer. Next is economic liberalization. The government has brought about certain changes in its economic policies so as to maintain its pace with the developing world and make India a developed nation. So government has brought many changes, in the existing policies, the policies which were used since, decades. बहुत सालों से जो policies use हो रही थी, government has maintained its pace. uh, what do you say, डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज से अपने आप को मैच करने के लिए, उनसे कॉम्पीट करने के लिए गवर्नमेंट हैज स्टार्टेड मेकिंग डिफरेंट चेंजेस इन द एग्जिस्टिंग पॉलिसीज so that India also becomes a developed nation. In accordance, the policy of liberalization was adopted in the year 1991. According to this policy, certain regulations related to manufacturing and trade and commerce were removed. Duties and tax relaxations on import-export were announced. The process of establishing a new manufacturing unit was made simpler. As a result, India has been able to keep pace with the world in terms of production and trade and commerce. It has also generated more employment opportunities. So, due to the policy changes which the government has made so that India also can become a developed nation, these all changes have taken place. Understood, everyone? Next is privatization. After the independence, many public ventures, that is, large manufacturing projects owned by the government, were started by the government of India. With the passage of time, these ventures made less profit and incurred losses. Example is BSNL. Many public ventures had to be closed down for this reason. Many public sectors, which were owned by the government, slowly and gradually they started making losses. So instead of, getting profits from any industry, if any owner is suffering losses, what will happen? That those industries or those organizations will be shut down. So these were closed down for this reason. This left an impact on our economic system. The workers became united, but the industry suffered big losses. So, in such organizations, there are also, labor commissions where these people, laborers, they get united. So, laborers became united, but industries suffered huge losses. On the other side, the emphasis on quality increased around the world. So till now on, till people were not so much in interaction with other countries, or they were not using other products because of import duties. But now these things were available at a cheaper price. Understood? So if anything which is available at a cheaper price, people would be preferring to buy such commodities, even if they are not manufactured in our own country, as we have seen during the time of Britishers. So same thing happened with the government sectors. The things which were provided to them, they were at a higher cost, as well as the quality did not matched the quality which was provided to them by the. So the private sector started making more profit. All these circumstances motivated privatization. Government started showing inclination towards private sector. That means government also believed that private sector is making more and more profit. So instead of making, running particular sector as public sector, government decided to make it private. And government started showing inclination towards private sector. That means they showed interest. The joint sector is a part of the process of privatization. That is why this joint sector started. Next is globalization. Globalization means the world becoming one or countries coming closer to one another. Due to the globalization, any country of the world can trade with another country easily. It integrates the markets and production units of various countries. The process of growing international relations and the integration of markets across the world is globalization. So, wherein the people of one country can trade with the people of another country. That is called globalization. So, due to globalization, any country of the world can trade with another country very easily. It integrates the markets and production units of various countries. That means we know what is produced in China or what is produced in Russia, which are good for us, which are available to us at a very low price. Now, the process of growing international relations and the integration of markets across the world is globalization. This is the definition of globalization. The unique revolution in the field of information technology has stimulated globalization. So, because of this revolution or this change in the field of information technology, we can see what is happening around in the world, what products are available in different countries, different shopping sites are available to us, which are originated in foreign countries. We can also order online things. All this is due to information technology. So that has given a great kick or boost to globalization. The World Trade Organization (WTO), established in 1995 CE, is working towards promoting or fostering globalization. So World Trade Organization means पूरे world का trade अच्छी तरह से हो. For that there is an organization which was established in 1995. So it is promoting and fostering globalization. What are the effects of globalization? Employment opportunities have increased in the service sector due to the advent of the information technology. Here and there, everywhere we can see IT institutes are there. So employment opportunities have increased. जितने ज़्यादा social sites होंगे, social media होगा, उतने definitely उनको लोग भी चाहिएंगे जिनको information technology के बारे में knowledge हो. Phone, fax, mobile, email, internet, video conferencing, etc. are some of the revolutionary tools of information technology which transfer information faster and at lower cost. This has made the economic development of our country very fast or faster. The multinational companies started projects in different countries which have proved to be profitable for the host nation. So multinational companies, which are also called MNCs, they started different projects in different countries and it has proved profitable for the host nation. मतलब अगर हमारी country में कोई MNC है, multinational company है, for example कोई US की company है, you take for example what do you call it, Procter and Gamble, Pantene shampoo, different other shampoos which are not actually Indian brand, they are foreign brand, but वो मैन्युफैक्चर तो यहीं पे होता है. पेंटीन शैम्पू हम यूज करते हैं तो इट इज अ नेम ऑफ अ फॉरेन कंपनी, बट स्टिल दैट शैम्पू इज मैन्युफैक्चर्ड इन इंडिया इटसेल्फ. तो ऑब्वियसली इंडिया को तो फायदा होगा ना, यहीं के वर्कर्स होंगे जो काम करेंगे, यहीं के लोग हैं जो उनको खरीदेंगे. सो इन शॉर्ट इट्स प्रॉफिटेबल. For example, Ford Motors is a car manufacturing plant in India where cars are manufactured not only for India but for other countries too. Apparently, India receives the advantage of this venture. Similarly, the big companies of India such as Tata Motors, Infosys, Asian Paints, Parle, etc. have export their commodities in foreign markets. So same thing, जैसे foreign countries हमारे यहाँ plants लगाती है, industries लगाती है to manufacture their product. In the same way, Indian companies have also, have export their commodities in the foreign markets. They can also get this opportunity. Consumers get commodities of a very good quality and at a low price due to the competition. For example, China made toys have become very popular in the Indian market due to its low price and attractive designs. In 1 year, only the Chinese toys have replaced the Indian toys in 70 to 80% shops. Now the toys in Indian markets are cheaper than before. Do you know the reason behind this? Due to the international trade, the Chinese toys came in Indian markets and proved to be better than the Indian toys. However, the Indian toy manufacturers and traders have incurred losses, so globalization at times causes loss to the cottage industries. So, Chinese toys or Chinese any products, even though they are cheaper in price, we know how much they last. And now on, we have seen there is lot of protest against using Chinese products. So I hope children you must have understood the chapter. Here are some questions from the exercise as well as think. What should the Indian toy manufacturers and traders do to increase their sales in Indian market? What do you think they should do? They should provide cheaper toys and better quality toys. Which multinational companies have started their projects in India? This you can Google your answers. Which sectors of Indian economy have been affected by it? Explain with suitable examples. Next, we have got exercise. Answer the following questions in short. They are there. There are also detailed questions. Answer the following questions in detail. Match the columns are there. Also, classify is there. Classify the following examples into organized and unorganized sector. This I told you to write the difference between organized and unorganized sector. In that difference itself, you will write down these classification. Then there is a project, prepare a project after visiting any industrial unit. This also you can write about 5 lines in the project, sticking few pictures. For example, if it is a industrial unit or cooperative dairy or cottage industry, जो भी तुमको suitable लगता है, कोई भी एक चीज हम लेंगे इनमें से, for example salt farm, उसके हम एक दो pictures लगाएंगे in a project. That means you have to do in your Fairbook itself, और उसके बारे में हम 5 lines लिखेंगे. Understood? Next questions are answer the following with the help of an expert. Know about the agricultural promotion schemes with the help of Gram Sevak, that is Gram Vikas officer. Farmers open their account in Grameen banks. Visit any two farmers' accounts. How are the farmers benefited by the agricultural related programs? The helpline numbers. What assistance to provide to the farmers on this helpline number? This is just for your knowledge. You can go through all these answers from the Google. Okay, it can help you. So children, we end our chapter here. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you, children.